A city held its breath for a millionaire's reward. A broken girl held her belly for strength. When their paths collide, love will face its hardest test, the truth. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because when the truth arrives, you'll want to be the first to witness it. The sun was bright that morning. Cameras flashed. Reporters rushed forward, pushing and shouting. Everyone wanted to get close to him. Nathan Wilson stood tall in front of the glass building, dressed in a black suit. His face was calm, but his eyes were serious. He was only in his late 20s, but already the richest man in the city. Every girl dreamed of him. Every company wanted to work with him. He was the most wanted bachelor. Reporters kept asking questions. "Mr. Wilson, is it true you're offering a reward?" "Who is she, Mr. Wilson?" "Is it someone we know?" "Why now, after more than 8 months?" Nathan raised his hand. Everyone went quiet. He slowly reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small silver ring. It shone in the sunlight. "This ring," he said in a deep voice, "has an identical one, and it is with the woman who saved me over 8 months ago. That night I was in danger. She helped me." He paused. "I never saw her face, but I gave her a ring just like this one. It was a promise that I would find her again. I have kept mine ever since. It means everything to me." The crowd whispered. Some people looked shocked, others looked confused. Nathan looked straight into the camera. "If anyone can help me find the woman who owns the same ring," he said slowly, "I will give them $1 million. Gasps filled the air. $1 million, one reporter shouted. "And more than that," Nathan added, "I will make her my wife. She saved my life. Now it's my turn to find her and protect her." He did not say how the woman saved him. He kept that part to himself. But his voice was full of emotion. The press conference ended, but the news had only just begun. Every TV channel showed Nathan's face. Every online news site talked about it. Billionaire offers $1 million for mystery woman who saved him. The city was buzzing. Girls everywhere checked their old rings. People made guesses. Some said it was just a stunt. Others believed it was real. While Nathan Wilson stood in front of flashing cameras, making his heartfelt announcement, far away in a quiet street, a young woman, Amanda Mason, was being thrown out of her own home. Heavily pregnant and tired, she stood by the front door, clutching her small bag with one hand and holding her heavy belly with the other. Her face was pale. Her eyes were swollen from crying all night. Across from her stood Brenda, her stepmother, arms crossed, face hard like stone. Beside her was Cindy, Amanda's stepsister, smirking with cold eyes. "We can't keep you here anymore," Brenda said sharply. "I cannot leave you to give birth to that bastard in this house. You're a disgrace." Amanda shook her head, tears falling down her cheeks. "You did this to me," she said softly, her voice shaking. "You and Cindy. You drugged me that night. I never wanted this. You set me up." Cindy laughed. "Who's going to believe you now?" she said. "What matters is we got what we wanted. You slept with some random man and got carelessly pregnant. Now you don't even know who the father is." Amanda sobbed. "That is all your fault, and you know it. I was confused, scared. I didn't know what happened. You both planned it." Brenda stepped forward and slapped Amanda's bag out of her hand. Just then she spotted Amanda's father approaching. Brenda changed her tune immediately. "We're tired of your lies. We gave you a home, food, and I took care of you even though you are not my daughter, and this is how you repay me. You'll not shame the Mason family name, and I won't let you drag the Wilson name down either. It's time you leave this house before that bastard is born." Behind them, Amanda's father stood silent. His face was blank. He didn't even look at her. "Dad," Amanda cried, turning to him, "please, you know I would never do anything like this. I'm your daughter." But he stayed quiet. Brenda had told him so many lies. She had twisted everything. She had poisoned his heart against Amanda. "She's not your daughter anymore," Brenda said coldly. "She's on her own now." Cindy walked up and opened the front door. "Go on, leave, find the father of your baby if you even know who he is." Amanda bent down slowly, picked up her bag, and looked at her father one last time. "Dad, please," Amanda cried again. But he turned away, saying nothing. She walked out of the house, tears falling freely. The door slammed shut behind her. She stood on the street, lost and alone. Her baby kicked gently inside her. She wrapped her arms around her belly. "I don't know who your father is," she whispered, "but I will protect you. I promise." She walked down the street with no place to go. Her feet were sore, her legs felt heavy, her back ached. The sun was hot, and her dress clung to her skin from sweat and dust. Her belly, round and full, pressed hard against her as she walked. She had nowhere to go. No home, no money, no one to call. She had walked for hours, holding on to hope, but now even that was starting to fade. Her steps brought her to the local market square, the heart of the neighborhood she once called home. She didn't want to stop there, but she was too tired to walk further. Her legs trembled. She found a stone bench near the side and slowly sat down, breathing hard. As soon as she sat, whispers started. "That's Amanda Mason, isn't it? Shameless girl, pregnant with no husband. I thought she was decent, always quiet and polite. Now look." The voices got louder. One of the market women stepped closer, her hands on her hips. "You should be ashamed of yourself, Amanda," she said, "walking around with your belly like that. Where is the father?" Amanda didn't speak. She didn't have the strength. Another woman threw a look of disgust. "Children will see you and think this is normal. You're a bad example. You should leave before our daughters start copying you." Amanda looked up, her eyes wide with pain. "I didn't do anything wrong," she shouted, her voice cracking. "I was framed, my stepmother. She drugged me. I didn't even know the man." The women laughed cruelly. Now she's blaming her family. How convenient. Every loose girl has a story. I don't want her anywhere near my stall. She'll bring bad luck. She'll turn our girls into prostitutes. Amanda stood up, holding her belly protectively. "Please, I just need a place to sit. I'm tired." "No," someone said, "you're not welcome here anymore." Another woman picked up a broom and started sweeping toward her feet like she was dirt. Amanda backed away slowly, her heart pounding. Everywhere she looked, cold eyes, shaking heads, whispered insults. She turned and walked away, tears blurring her vision. She was homeless now. Shunned, alone, forgotten. She found an empty bench by a closed shop and sat there, hugging herself as the sky darkened. Her stomach growled. Her baby moved again. Amanda whispered, "I'm sorry, baby. Mummy will find a way, I promise." But deep inside she was breaking. She walked slowly down the dusty road, her arms wrapped around her belly, her heart aching. She hadn't eaten all day. Her throat was dry, her feet dragged. She felt like a ghost. As she passed by a small supermarket, she heard a loud voice coming from inside. The television behind the counter was turned up high, offering $1 million to find the woman who saved him. Amanda stopped. The reporter's voice continued. "Mr. Nathan Wilson, the billionaire and CEO of Wilson Global, says he gave the woman a ring as a promise. He is searching for her now and vows to marry her when he finds her." Amanda turned and stepped closer to the screen. Her eyes locked on Nathan's face, her chest tightened. It was him. The same man she had seen just once in the early morning light before she left that hotel room in a hurry. She stared, frozen. She reached into her small bag and pulled out a tiny silver ring hanging from a string. Her hand shook as she held it up. "That's him," she said in a shaky voice. "He's looking for me. I have the ring. It's the same one." A few people in the store turned to look at her. One woman laughed. "You," she said, "you think you're the woman Nathan Wilson is looking for. Please." Amanda looked down at the ring. "I didn't know who he was," she said softly, "but I found this around my neck that morning. I didn't throw it away. I always wondered who it belonged to." A man near the counter snorted. "Lady, do you know how many fake rings like that are out there now? Everyone's trying to get that reward. Yours is probably fake too." "It's not fake," Amanda said, holding the ring closer to her chest. "I didn't make it. He gave it to me." "Yeah, right," another man said, laughing. "And if you're the woman he's looking for, then I'm the President of America." The room burst into laughter. Amanda felt heat rising to her face. Her eyes stung. She wanted to run, but her legs felt like stone. "I'm telling the truth," she whispered. But nobody listened. They had already turned back to their groceries, their laughter still echoing behind her. Amanda stepped out of the supermarket and walked back into the sun. She looked at the ring again, then closed her hand around it tightly. Even if nobody believed her, even if they all laughed, she knew. She remembered. She whispered, "It's real. I know it's real." And deep down her heart began to hope. Her stomach rumbled again. She hadn't eaten any proper meals in almost 2 days. Her lips were dry, and her body felt weak. She walked slowly along the city street, her eyes searching for something, anything that she could afford. She passed by a bakery. The smell of fresh bread made her stomach twist. She stepped closer to the window, just looking, hoping maybe someone would drop something. Anything. Then she saw it. A woman had stepped out of a nearby cafe, holding her purse and a shopping bag. The woman was wealthy, dressed in expensive clothes and heavy jewelry. She placed her bag on the bench while adjusting her high heels. Amanda didn't move. She only stood nearby, watching the movement on the street. Suddenly, the woman turned and screamed, "Thief, stop her. She tried to steal my bag." Amanda's eyes widened. "No, I didn't touch anything." People stopped, heads turned, a small crowd began to gather. The woman pointed straight at Amanda. "It was her, that pregnant girl. She came close to me. She must have been trying to grab my purse." Amanda shook her head, frightened. "I swear I didn't. I was just standing here. I wasn't going to steal anything." A man in the crowd stepped forward. "She looks like trouble. Look at her, dirty clothes, no shoes, and pregnant. Probably homeless too." Another woman added, "She smells awful, and she's got the nerve to walk around like this? Shameless." Amanda backed away, tears in her eyes. "I'm not a thief," she said, her voice cracking. "I was just hungry. I didn't touch anything. Please believe me." But no one did. "She's probably pretending to be pregnant to get sympathy," someone said. "She should be locked up," another voice snapped. Amanda clutched her belly and started to cry. The baby moved inside her again, as if it could feel her fear. "Please," she whispered, "I'm not a bad person." "Liar," the rich woman shouted. "Call the police." That was enough. Amanda turned and ran. She didn't know where she was running to, but she had to get away. Tears streamed down her face. Her breathing was heavy. Her feet hit pavement hard. She just kept going, past shops, past cars, past people who turned their heads away. She didn't stop until she reached an alley, far away from the noise. She leaned against a wall and slid to the ground. Her body shook. "I didn't do anything," she whispered. But nobody had listened. She ran through the street, her tears blinding her. Her legs felt weak, but fear pushed her forward. She didn't know where to go. She just wanted to disappear. Then suddenly, screech! A black luxury car slammed on its brakes, stopping just inches from her. Amanda froze in place, eyes wide. Her heart was racing. People screamed nearby. The driver jumped out. 2 men in black suits followed him. They looked sharp, professional, clearly not ordinary drivers. "Are you crazy? You almost ran her over," someone shouted from the sidewalk. Amanda staggered back, holding her belly. The men rushed forward, not to scold her, but to stare. One of them pointed to the necklace around her neck. The silver ring. It hung from a thin string, resting against her chest. "Wait," the man said quietly. "That ring." Amanda looked down and quickly covered it. "What?" Another man stepped closer, eyes wide. "Where did you get that ring? Answer me, please." Amanda took a shaky step back. "It's mine. I've had it for a long time." "Why?" Just then pain ripped through her stomach. Her knees buckled, her hands gripped her belly. Her water had broken. "She's going into labor," one of them shouted. "Get her to the car, now." Amanda could barely hear their voices as they helped her into the back seat. Her head was spinning, her vision was blurry. The men sped off to the hospital. One of them quickly called Nathan. "Sir, we found her. The woman with the ring. She is pregnant and already in labor." At the hospital, Amanda screamed in pain as the nurses rushed her into a delivery room. She cried out again and again. Her body was tired. Her heart was scared. Then everything went quiet. Moments passed. A midwife came out, looking serious. "I'm sorry," he said gently. "The twins. They were born still." Amanda's world fell apart. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no." Tears poured down her face as she lay in the hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. Nobody comforted her. Nobody stayed. And just before Nathan arrived, Amanda slipped out of the hospital, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. Her babies were gone. She thought there was nothing left. But deep inside the hospital, in a dark room at the back, the babies, a boy and a girl, were alive. The midwife stood over them. She picked them up gently and whispered, "Forgive me, little ones." Brenda had paid her to drop them off at an orphanage to erase Amanda's children from her life forever. But just as she was about to leave, Nathan Wilson walked into the hospital. He rushed to the front desk. "Where is she? The woman with the ring. Where is she?" "She left, sir," the nurse said. She gave birth and left. The children were left behind." Nathan's eyes narrowed. "She abandoned them. Is she that cruel?" He demanded a DNA test. 3 days later, the results came back. The twins were his. Nathan stood by their incubator, tears in his eyes. A boy and a girl, so small, so perfect. "My children," he whispered. He picked them up gently and held them close. Then he looked at his men. "Take them home." While Nathan held his newborn twins, believing Amanda had abandoned them without a second thought, Amanda herself was lost in a storm of pain. She walked without seeing. Her arms felt empty. Her belly was gone, but her babies were not with her. Her heart felt like it had stopped beating. She didn't know where she was going. She didn't care. The grief was too heavy. The world around her faded. Her knees buckled, and she collapsed in the middle of the street. People rushed over. "Someone help her. She's not breathing right. She just gave birth. Look at her. She's bleeding." A group of kind strangers lifted Amanda gently and carried her to the nearest hospital. She was rushed inside, her skin cold and pale. Hours passed. Then her eyes slowly opened. Bright lights above, white walls, the smell of medicine. She blinked and turned her head. Voices, her family. Brenda was there, arms crossed, face tight. Beside her stood Amanda's father, silent and uncomfortable. Cindy sat near the door, chewing her gum, looking bored. Amanda stared at them, confused. The doctor walked in and looked at the family, gesturing for them to go outside and talk. "She's awake, but there's something you all should know." Brenda frowned. "What is it now?" The doctor sighed. "She's suffering from selective amnesia. It's a result of extreme grief and mental trauma. She doesn't remember anything from about 10 months ago. It seems she went through something very painful, so her brain has blocked out the pain." Her father looked shocked. Brenda's eyes widened for a second, then narrowed quickly with thought. This was unexpected, but useful. After the doctor left, they went back to the room, and Brenda suddenly grabbed Amanda's hand and smiled sweetly. "You had a hard time, but don't worry. We'll take you home now. Everything will be okay." Her father hesitated. "But we just disowned her." Brenda cut in. "She's still our daughter. She needs us. Right, honey?" She turned to Cindy and gave her a sharp look. "Don't say a word." Cindy rolled her eyes but nodded. Brenda turned back to Amanda with a fake tear in her eye. "We'll take care of you. Just rest. Forget everything. You'll be safe now." Amanda looked at them, lost and scared, not knowing the people standing around her were the ones who had destroyed her. She didn't remember the pain they caused. She didn't remember Nathan. She didn't remember the twins. And just like that, 6 years passed. The quiet baby cries Nathan once heard in the night had become the loud, playful laughter of 2 bright, curious 5-year-olds, David and Hope. Nathan had raised them alone, never speaking of their mother, not once. But now the questions had begun. "Daddy, where is Mummy? Did she go far away? Does she not like us?" Nathan would smile softly, change the topic, or pretend he didn't hear. But the questions never stopped. One evening, as he stood by the window of his study, Nathan sighed deeply. He turned to his assistant, Miles, and said, "It's time. Find out who their mother really is. Use all the resources you need and make sure you come back with results." Miles nodded and began the investigation. A few weeks later, following old hospital records and quiet staff, the truth came back like a storm. "The woman who gave birth to your children," Miles said, placing a file on Nathan's desk, "is Amanda Mason." Nathan's eyes froze on her name. He stared at her photo, her soft eyes, the same eyes his daughter had, the same smile David carried. "It's her," he whispered. But anger rose in his chest. "She left them. Sis," he said coldly. "She had them, and just walked away, and now she's living her life like nothing happened." He slammed the folder shut. "Don't contact her," he added. "I won't let that kind of woman near my kids again. She's dangerous, probably waiting to find me and take everything I have." Meanwhile, in a large boardroom, Brenda and Cindy sat stiffly at a business meeting. Across the table sat Amanda, now more confident, calm and elegant, but still trusting. She had been working hard in the family company, trying to be helpful. She still had no memory of her past, but something inside her always felt missing. Unknown to Amanda, her stepmother Brenda had recently found out that her late mother had transferred some of the company shares to her kindness. Brenda began to plot immediately. "Let's bring in James," Brenda had told Cindy a month ago. "He's charming, and Amanda is soft. We'll make her fall, fake marry him, and get the shares back." So James entered Amanda's life, kind, gentle, sweet. He proposed after a few months. Amanda, though hesitant, agreed. A big engagement party was planned. But on the day of the celebration, Amanda overheard a hushed conversation between James and Cindy behind the garden wall. "She's so easy to trick," James said. "Once the papers are signed, the shares are ours." Amanda felt her knees go weak. Everything stopped. Her heart pounded. She walked back into the hall, picked up the microphone meant for the toasts, and stood tall in front of hundreds of guests. "There will be no wedding," she said loudly, "because this entire relationship was a setup." The room fell silent. She turned to James. "You came into my life with lies, and I almost gave you everything." Then she looked at her stepmother and Cindy. "And you used me again, like you always do." She dropped the ring on the floor and walked out with her head held high. Gasps, murmurs. Shame fell on the faces of Brenda, Cindy, and James. Elsewhere, Nathan stood in his office, looking at his phone. "She's getting married?" he asked Miles, who nodded. "She moved on," he said, eyes narrowing, "after abandoning our children, like they meant nothing." His jaw clenched. He grabbed his car keys. "I'm going to her. I'm going to look her in the eye and ask why." He was angry, but beneath the anger was pain. Meanwhile, Amanda walked out of the engagement party like a storm, her heart pounding in her chest. The betrayal cut deep. The shame, the lies, it was too much. She didn't know where she was going. She didn't care. She only knew she had to leave before she broke. The cool evening wind brushed against her skin as she hurried down the quiet road outside the hall. Her heels clicked fast against the pavement. Her eyes were full of tears, her chest rising and falling quickly. Then she bumped into someone. Hard, she stumbled back and looked up. A tall, handsome man stood there, sharp jawline, piercing eyes, dressed in a dark suit. He looked powerful, familiar, but her mind was too foggy to place him. It was Nathan Wilson, though she didn't recognize him immediately. Amanda grabbed his arm, her eyes wild, desperate. "You," she said, almost out of breath, Do you want to get married?" Nathan blinked, stunned. "What?" Amanda wiped her eyes and tried to breathe. "Listen, I need to get married, today. Now, if possible, I can pay you. I just need your name, to access the shares my mother left me. If I don't, My stepmother and sister will steal everything, and my dad will just watch them do it. Nathan stared at her. She was shaking. Beautiful, still, her. But she didn't know who he was. She had no idea she was talking to the man she once saved, the man she had twins with, the man whose heart she had unknowingly broken. His first instinct was to snap at her, to ask how she could forget him, to throw her ring at her feet. But something stopped him. He saw the pain in her eyes. And he realized she didn't remember, or was she just pretending so she could move on with her life smoothly? "You're serious?" he asked slowly. She nodded fast. "I'll pay you. I don't need love. I just need help to survive this mess. Please, just be my husband for a short time." Nathan tilted his head, watching her closely. His heart was racing. This was it, a chance to stay close, a chance to make her feel what he felt. He gave a small nod. "All right," he said, "I'll marry you." Amanda's shoulders dropped in relief. "Thank you," she whispered. Nathan didn't smile. He looked into her eyes. "Let's see how long you can pretend you don't remember," he thought. "If this is a game, Amanda, I'm ready to play." A few hours later, Amanda sat beside Nathan in the quiet government office, still catching her breath from the chaos. The paperwork for their marriage was spread out in front of them. The clerk handed her a pen. "Sign here, please," the woman said with a smile. Amanda leaned forward and sighed. Then she glanced at the section with her new husband's name. Nathan Wilson. She froze. Her hand stopped mid-air. Her eyes slowly widened as she looked up, really looking at the man beside her for the first time, the sharp suit, the calm face, the serious eyes. Her heart skipped. "You're Nathan Wilson," she whispered. "The billionaire, the man from the news." Nathan turned slightly toward her, his expression unreadable. "Yes." Amanda leaned back, stunned. "Why would someone like you agree to marry someone like me? For money? You obviously don't need it." He didn't answer. Instead, he simply looked at her, calm and cold. Amanda felt something strange in her chest. She wanted to ask more, but the clerk handed them the stamped certificate. "It's official," she said. "Congratulations." Later that day, Amanda followed Nathan through the wide hallway of his grand home. Everything was spotless, beautiful, silent. Too silent, until shh. Tiny feet padded across the floor. Two little voices whispered from around the corner. David and Hope peeked from behind the staircase, their eyes wide with curiosity. Their small hands gripped the wall as they watched the woman standing beside their father. Hope whispered, "She's so pretty." David nodded. "She smells nice too, like cookies." The two giggled and suddenly ran up to Amanda, wrapping their little arms around her legs. Amanda jumped in surprise. "Oh," she said, laughing nervously. "Hello." Hope hugged tighter. "Are you our mommy?" Amanda looked down, confused. "Me?" David smiled up at her. "You feel soft." Nathan stood back, watching the scene unfold. Amanda gently placed her hands on the children's heads. There was something in their eyes, something that made her chest feel warm and strange. She didn't know why, but she wanted to hold them. Nathan watched closely. His eyes were sharp, guarded. How could she touch them so gently, smile at them like that? He thought bitterly, does she even remember leaving them? Leaving me? But the kids didn't know. They only knew she felt like love. And in that moment, Amanda, though confused, felt a tiny piece of her heart start to light up again. Later that night, inside their new bedroom, Amanda sat on the edge of the bed, brushing her hair in silence. The room was beautiful, warm, filled with soft lights and a quiet hum from the city outside. Nathan stood near the window, lost in thought. Amanda broke the silence. "I didn't know you had children," she said gently, her voice calm. "I also want to have mine someday." Nathan turned slightly, watching her reflection in the mirror. "They're adorable," she added with a small smile, "but don't worry, I love kids, and it's not like this marriage is real anyway. It'll be over soon, right?" Nathan's brow furrowed. She wants kids. Someday? That didn't make sense. She had abandoned his kids years ago. Why would she say that so easily? Was she pretending? Hiding it on purpose? Or was something truly wrong? He didn't ask. He only nodded and walked to his side of the bed. Over the next few days, Amanda settled into the house like she had always belonged. David and Hope followed her everywhere, during breakfast, in the garden, even while she was reading quietly by the window. They laughed more, talked more. Even Nathan noticed the way they smiled differently around her. "She reads better than the last nanny," Hope said one night. "She gives the warmest hugs," David added, grinning. Amanda blushed when she heard them, gently brushing David's hair with her fingers. "I don't know why," she laughed softly, "but I feel close to them, like I've known them forever." Nathan stood in the hallway, listening. He stared at her as she bent down to tie Hope's shoelace with the gentleness of a real mother. The kids didn't cling to anyone like this, not to any of the nannies, not even to distant family. Only her. His heart ached and his thoughts spiraled. She's kind to them, natural, even loving. But what if this is all an act? What if it's just another trick to make me trust her? He tried to stay distant. He tried to remind himself of the reason he brought her into his house. To teach her a lesson, not to fall for her. But every time she smiled, every time she laughed with the children, every time she turned to him with tired but gentle eyes, his walls cracked a little more. Still, he told himself the same thing over and over. She left them once. I can't let myself forget that. But something deep inside him whispered back, what if she didn't? Nathan sat in his office late one evening, staring blankly at the glowing city skyline. He had been watching Amanda for weeks now, her kindness, her warmth, the way she lit up when the kids laughed, how she never asked for anything even after she knew he was a billionaire, how she never tried to get close to his wealth, his business, or his power. It didn't make sense. If she was pretending, she was very good at it. But Nathan didn't trust easily, not after what he thought she had done. So he made a decision. A test. The next morning, rumors spread like wildfire across the city. Nathan Wilson is bankrupt. Every news channel talked about it. Stock crash, massive debt. Wilson Global is falling. His phone stopped ringing. His so-called friends, business partners, allies and socialites all vanished. No one visited, no one called. Within hours his office was quiet, cold, only a few staff members stayed. Nathan returned home that evening, his face tired, his chest heavy. He didn't say a word. Amanda noticed immediately. "Are you okay?" she asked, setting down a bowl of soup. "You look different." Nathan didn't answer. Later that night, she saw the news. She stood frozen in front of the TV screen, her mouth slightly open. She didn't sleep. The next morning, she knocked on his study door, carrying a tray of breakfast. "Eat something," she said softly. "You need your strength." He looked up at her, surprised. "You saw the news?" She nodded. "Yes." "You're still here?" She frowned. "Why wouldn't I be?" He studied her face. No trace of fear. No questions about money. Just a concern. She placed the tray down, then walked over to the couch and sat beside him. "I know what it feels like to have the whole world turn its back on you," she said gently, "but your kids need you, and I'm here, okay?" She looked at him, eyes steady. "We'll get through it, all of us." Nathan stared at her in silence. She wasn't pretending. She offered to help. She offered her own savings. She even asked if she should try and get back her inheritance from her family. With that, she could support the house. And still, she never asked for anything in return. He couldn't believe it. Every part of him wanted to ask, why? Why are you doing this? But another part was afraid of the answer. And for the first time in years, he felt like he wasn't alone. But he kept reminding himself she abandoned the twins, Don't forget that. Don't fall for this act, not yet. Even though a part of him was already falling. The days felt longer, heavier. Nathan made sure the rumors of his bankruptcy did not fade, and soon a harsh letter arrived from the bank. They were coming for the house. Nathan read the notice in silence, then slowly walked into the living room where Amanda was playing with David and Hope. The kids were laughing, chasing each other in circles, while Amanda gently reminded them not to trip. Nathan waited until they settled, then pulled Amanda aside. His voice was low. "I think you should leave." Amanda looked at him, confused. "What?" He held the paper in his hand and looked down at it. "The bank. They're going to take the house. I won't be able to stop it. You don't owe me anything, Amanda. This marriage is fake. You shouldn't end up on the street because of me." Amanda looked at him for a long time, then shook her head. "No," she said. Nathan blinked. "What?" "I said no, I'm not going anywhere." "You don't have to. We may not be a real couple, Nathan, but we're friends, and those kids, they mean the world to me. I'm not abandoning you, or them, not now, not ever." Her voice was firm, her eyes soft. Nathan felt something twist inside him. That night, unable to sleep, he finally called Miles, his assistant. "Find out what happened to Amanda," he said. 6 years ago, all of it, every detail." Miles didn't ask questions. He got to work. 2 days later, Miles returned looking serious. "There's something you need to know," he said. "Amanda was taken to a hospital 6 years ago after she collapsed on the street. She had just given birth." Nathan's heart stopped. "She suffered from selective amnesia," Miles continued. "The doctors said the trauma of losing her children caused her mind to block out everything. From that night, to the day she woke up, she's never remembered anything since." Nathan sat down slowly. "She doesn't know," Miles said quietly. "She really doesn't know those children are hers." Nathan felt sick. All this time, the hatred, the anger, the cold walls he had built against her. And she never even knew. It was not her fault at all, she was just a victim. Meanwhile, Amanda had taken what little savings she had, walked into a small real estate office and asked, "What can I afford for a family of 4? The agent smiled kindly and showed her a few modest places. Amanda picked one, her heart heavy but hopeful. What she didn't know was that Nathan had followed her. He couldn't let her live in a small broken home, not after everything. So he made a call. 3 days later, Amanda received a message. "Congratulations, you are the winner of our dream home giveaway. Come claim your prize, we only do this once every decade, and you are the lucky winner." She thought it was a scam at first. But when she arrived, her jaw dropped. A grand mansion stood before her, beautiful gardens, sparkling windows, and tall gates. Even more beautiful than Nathan's old house. "It's real?" she asked, still stunned. "It's yours," the agent said, handing her the key. Nathan, standing at a distance, watched her smile and felt satisfied. She believed she had won the house in a lucky draw. But it was his way of saying thank you, and maybe, sorry. Weeks passed. They moved in, all 4 of them. Amanda decorated the children's room with soft toys and stars. She cooked their favorite meals. She helped them with bedtime stories. She laughed with them, hugged them, and never once guessed the truth. Nathan watched her quietly. The children clung to her. And Amanda, though still unaware, was already mothering her own kids. And Nathan, once full of anger, now found himself wondering, what would happen if she never remembered? And what would he do if she did? One sunny afternoon, Nathan stood by the tall window of the mansion, staring out at the garden where Amanda was laughing with David and Hope. The kids ran around her, squealing with joy. Amanda twirled gently, her dress catching the wind, her laughter pure and soft. She didn't know. She still didn't know they were hers. Nathan's heart ached. He had kept it from her before wanting to punish her, but now he wanted to tell her. Every day he stood on the edge of truth, ready to open his mouth. But the fear pulled him back. What if she hates me? What if she leaves? Because somewhere along the way, he had fallen for her completely. Not just the way she smiled or held the kids, not just her strength or patience, but everything. Nathan had brought her here to punish her, to teach her a lesson. Now all he wanted was to protect her. But he had to find out what really happened 6 years ago. He had to know everything. So he dug deeper. Through old hotel records, security camera archives, business reports from that night, 6 years ago. What he discovered left him stunned. He vaguely remembered being drugged by business rivals, trying to get blackmail material on him. He had staggered out of his room, confused and blurry, desperate to escape. He had opened the wrong door, entered a different room. And there he met a woman, soft voice, frightened eyes. They had shared a single night, neither of them in full control, neither knowing the other's name. Before passing out, he had taken off his ring and placed it gently around her neck. A promise. She had disappeared before he woke up. That woman was Amanda. He kept digging. And what he found next made his blood boil. Amanda had been drugged too, by her stepmother Brenda and stepsister Cindy. They had planned to send her into a client's room to humiliate her, ruin her, and use her to gain favor in their business deals. But Amanda never reached that client. Because somehow Nathan ended up there. They never knew. They only saw her belly grow weeks later and assumed the worst, called her names, beat her down, kicked her out. They treated her like trash. They tried to erase her. Nathan's jaw clenched, his fists tightened. How could anyone treat a person like that? And this was none other than his Amanda, someone so kind, so full of love. Without waiting, he picked up his phone and called his board. "End all partnerships with the Mason Group," he said coldly, "effective immediately." His assistant hesitated. "Sir, they're long-time collaborators." "Then make it a headline. I want every investor to know we don't do business with people who destroy their own family. They tried to kill my children." He hung up and made another call. "Send out a boycott notice. No more Mason deals, anywhere." Nathan looked back at Amanda outside. She had fallen on the grass, laughing as David tried to pull her up. She had lost everything because of them. Now it was time they lost everything because of him. But still, he hadn't told her. Not yet, and the fear inside him whispered, what if she walks away when she knows everything? Later that evening, Amanda sat at the kitchen table, peeling oranges while Hope doodled with crayons beside her. David was chasing bubbles in the garden just outside. The house felt like a home, warm, soft, full of laughter. Lately, she had been noticing little things. Hope had a mild rash the other day after eating shrimp. Amanda had rushed to apply cream and calm her down, only to hear Nathan mention casually, "She's allergic, just like David." Amanda froze. "I'm allergic to shrimp too," she said, more to herself than anyone. She brushed it off as a coincidence. Sometimes, when she looked at them, she felt something deeper, something strange. But her mind wouldn't settle on what it meant. That night, Nathan stood in the study, his heart racing. Amanda entered quietly, smiling. "You called me?" He nodded, then looked away for a moment, thinking. "It's time I told you something," he said, turning to her. Amanda sat down, waiting. "The bankruptcy," he began. "It wasn't real." Her eyes widened slightly. "It was a test. I wanted to see if you were pretending. I thought maybe you had a plan, like others. I didn't trust you. You are such a nice person, contrary to my initial opinion of you." Amanda looked at him for a moment, then chuckled softly. "I already guessed," she said. Nathan blinked. "You did? I mean, who loses everything and still comes home in a suit that expensive?" She grinned. He laughed, finally relaxing. "But why didn't you say anything?" he asked. Amanda's smile faded a little. "Because it didn't matter. Whether you're rich or poor, you're kind, honest, and a good father. That's enough." Her words struck something deep in him. He stepped closer, searching her eyes. Somewhere along the way, "I fell in love with you," he whispered. Amanda's breath caught in her throat. She stood slowly, her eyes never leaving his. "I feel the same," she said. "I don't know how or when, but I care about you, Nathan. Deeply." He reached for her, and she stepped into his arms. Their lips met in a kiss, soft, warm, real. For the first time in years, Nathan felt whole. But as they pulled apart, he looked at her face, and a new question burned inside him. Should I tell her the truth? Should I tell her the children are hers? He held her tighter, not knowing if he could ever let her go. The next morning, Nathan returned to his office, his mind clearer than it had been in years. The fake bankruptcy hadn't just been a test for Amanda. It had tested everyone, his board members, his partners, his employees. Now he knew who his real friends were. He called a private meeting. To the handful of staff who had stayed loyal, who worked late even when unsure of pay, who never walked away when the rumors grew, Nathan gave massive bonuses, promotions, and open gratitude. "You didn't just stay for the money," he told them. "You stayed for what we've built. And that means more than anything." As his business began regaining stability, Nathan found himself staring out the window more often, Amanda's face in his mind. She had passed every test. She cares so much for the kids, even though she didn't know they were hers. She had healed a part of his heart without even knowing what she once meant to him, and most importantly, he now knew she hadn't abandoned the kids. But should he tell her? Should he finally reveal that David and Hope were her children? Meanwhile, far across town, in the now quiet halls of the Mason Group, Brenda and Cindy sat in silence. The company had collapsed, business partners pulled out, investors vanished, suppliers cut ties. And Nathan Wilson was behind all of it. But before the fall, he had quietly secured every asset, share, and legal right that once belonged to Amanda. Every part of her inheritance was now back in her name. And that's when Brenda found out. She stood in shock as the news came in. "Amanda is married to Nathan Wilson," her lawyer whispered. Brenda's jaw clenched. "What?" "She's living in one of the grandest homes in the city. She's protected. She's powerful." Cindy gasped. "She married him, but she was nothing, a disgrace." Brenda's eyes narrowed. "She was a fool, but now she's protected. We have to find a way." "To ruin her happiness," Cindy muttered, "to bring her down." Brenda smirked bitterly. "We gave her nothing but pain. She escaped once. She won't again." They didn't know how yet, but Amanda's peace was now their target. Back at the mansion, Amanda played in the garden with David and Hope, her laughter echoing in the wind. Inside, Nathan stood in the doorway, watching her, his heart full and breaking at the same time. She deserves the truth. A few days later, Cindy Mason walked confidently into Nathan Wilson's office building, her heels clicking against the marble floor like a warning shot. She wore her tightest dress, her boldest lipstick, and a plan in her mind. Nathan was the richest man in the city and now Amanda's husband. But Cindy had always believed that Amanda didn't deserve a man like him. Amanda was the quiet, soft one, the fool, the weakling. She was the one who knew how to use charm. And now, with their family business crumbling and Brenda blaming her more and more, Cindy saw one way out. Nathan. She entered his office, smiling sweetly. Nathan didn't look up. "I don't have time for surprises today, Cindy Mason." "Oh, don't be so cold," she said, walking closer. "I heard about the whole bankruptcy thing. So smart of you, really. Testing people." "And Amanda? Well, she's sweet, sure. But don't you think you deserve a woman who understands your world?" She leaned closer. Nathan finally looked up, his eyes sharp, his jaw tight. "Get out." Cindy blinked. "Excuse me?" "I said leave, now before I call security." She laughed nervously. "Nathan, come on, you don't mean that." But he stood, his frame towering over her, eyes colder than steel. "I don't care what your plan is," he said, his voice low. "I won't tolerate snakes in my office. Amanda is your sister, for crying out loud. If I ever see you near me again with this nonsense, your family's fall will be permanent." Shaken, Cindy turned and stormed out. She was still fuming as she stood by the parking lot, pacing, trying to think of her next move. She pulled out her phone to call Brenda, but just then she froze. Nathan's voice drifted from behind a nearby pillar. He was speaking to his assistant, Miles, just a few feet away. Cindy ducked and listened. "I don't know how to tell her," Nathan said, sounding tired. "She doesn't remember anything, Miles. The night of the drugging, the children, us, and I've fallen in love with her. I'm terrified that if I tell her, she'll hate me." Miles was quiet for a moment. "She has a right to know, sir." Nathan sighed. "I know. But if telling her breaks what we've built, I don't know if I'll survive that." Cindy's eyes lit up. Her heart raced. Amanda had no memory. She didn't know those kids were hers, so Nathan was the one she had slept with that night. Cindy smiled cruelly to herself. This was it, the weapon she needed. If she played this right, she could turn Amanda against Nathan. And in the end, maybe Nathan would look at her differently. A better life, a richer one, a chance to leave the ruins of the Mason name behind forever. Yes, she would use this secret and break them apart. The invitation came in the form of a message, sweet, calm, almost innocent. "Let's meet, just the two of us. I have something to say, and I promise it won't be like before. 2 p.m. Saffron Cafe." Amanda hesitated, but curiosity nudged her forward. She arrived at the luxurious cafe, greeted by gold-trimmed furniture and soft piano music. Cindy was already seated, swirling her drink with a polished smile on her face. "Surprised I picked somewhere so fancy," she said, her voice sugary. "Well, a girl has to pretend, now that everything's gone." Amanda sat calmly across from her. "Why did you call me here?" Cindy leaned forward, her voice dropping. "I know everything." Amanda raised an eyebrow. "About what?" "About the twins," Cindy whispered. "David and Hope. They're your children." Amanda blinked, then let out a small laugh. "That's the most ridiculous thing I've heard in a long time." "It's not a joke, Amanda. Nathan knew. He's known all along. He brought you into that house not out of love, but revenge. He wanted to punish you." Amanda laughed again, harder this time. "You called me here to try and poison me with more lies." "I'm not falling for it, Cindy. This isn't some soap opera." Cindy's smile faded. "I only came here to say one thing," Amanda said firmly, rising from her seat. "Tell Brenda, tell my father. I'm no longer part of the Mason family, and I don't owe any of you anything, not even my anger." Cindy stood as Amanda turned to leave. "Then ask him," she said quickly. "Ask Nathan. I dare you." Amanda didn't respond. But that night, something itched at her mind, a whisper, a flicker of doubt. Just to clear her thoughts, she found Nathan in his study, reading. "I saw Cindy today," she said quietly. Nathan looked up. "She said David and Hope are mine." Amanda's voice wavered. Nathan's eyes darkened slightly. He closed the book. "Is that what she told you?" Amanda shook her head. "I didn't believe her, but I'm asking you now. Is it true?" Nathan stood still for a moment. Then nodded. "Yes, I didn't mean for you to find out this way, but it's true." Amanda's breath hitched. "That's impossible. Why can't I remember my own children?" "Because," Nathan said gently, "you lost your memory 6 years ago, after giving birth, after being told they were stillborn." Amanda's hands trembled. Nathan stepped closer, reaching into his drawer. He pulled out a small box and opened it. Inside lay the silver ring, the one he had placed around her neck all those years ago. He held it out to her. As soon as Amanda saw it, everything came rushing back. The hotel room, the pain, the screams, the moment she woke up and ran, the hospital, the grief, the babies, her being told they had died. She staggered back. "Oh my God," she whispered. "David, Hope." Tears streamed down her face as she collapsed onto the couch. Nathan knelt beside her, holding her hand. "I didn't know how to tell you," he said softly. Amanda shook her head, her body trembling. They're mine. Nathan nodded. And Amanda finally remembered everything. Her breath grew heavier as the memories kept flooding in, fast, sharp, painful. Her hands trembled as she gripped the armrest of the couch, and Nathan knelt beside her, still holding the ring. But her eyes, once full of confusion and sadness, now burned with fury. "You knew," she said quietly, her voice shaking. "You knew they were mine." Nathan's lips parted, his face filled with regret. "Amanda, you kept them from me," she snapped, standing up suddenly. "You stood there, watching, without telling me they were my own." "I thought you abandoned them," Nathan said, standing too. "That day at the hospital you left. You didn't look back. I thought—" Amanda cut him off. "I didn't remember. I didn't even know I gave birth to living children. I thought they were dead, Nathan." Her voice broke. "I've spent years grieving children I thought I'd lost forever. My mind had to block out the memory because it was too painful. And you," she pointed at him with shaking fingers, "you had them. You knew they were alive. And you let me believe they were gone." Nathan's eyes filled with guilt. "I tried to find you. I even offered a reward, but when I found out you had abandoned the kids, I was angry. And I didn't know about your memory loss until later. And by then, I was afraid that telling you would destroy everything we'd built. I wasn't even angry when you faked that bankruptcy nonsense," she hissed. "But this is my soul, Nathan, my children. You had no right." Tears ran down her cheeks. "I don't know if I can forgive you this time." Without waiting for his response, Amanda turned and walked out of the room. She packed her things quickly and gently woke Hope and David. "We're going away for a while," she said softly, brushing their hair. Nathan stood helpless at the doorway as Amanda left, holding their children's hands. He didn't stop her. He couldn't. He had broken something too deep. Meanwhile, Cindy sat on her bed, scrolling through her phone when she read the message an informant. Amanda left the mansion. She jumped up and ran to Brenda. "She left. She took the kids too." Brenda's eyes lit up. "Then this is your chance. Go to Nathan. Be the shoulder he cries on. Once he lets you in, we can fix everything." Cindy smirked. "I'll make him forget her." Later that evening, Cindy walked into Nathan's office, dressed sexily, carrying a small food basket. "I heard what happened," she said sweetly. "I just wanted to bring you something warm. You've been through so much." Nathan didn't look up from his desk. "I'm not hungry," he said flatly. Cindy stepped closer. "Nathan, I could help you through this. We could help each other. My mother—" That was when he finally raised his eyes. Cold, sharp, unforgiving. "Do you think I don't know what kind of person you are?" he said slowly. "You drugged your own sister. You tried to sell her off to a client. You stood by as she was ruined." Cindy blinked, stepping back. "You and your mother are lucky Amanda isn't pressing charges. If she changes her mind, I will help her destroy you." She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came. Nathan turned his eyes back to his desk. "Leave." Cindy clenched her fists and stormed out, humiliated. But outside she wiped her tears and her anger turned into ice. "If I can't get Nathan," she whispered, "then Amanda will pay. She took everything. She'll regret it." Meanwhile, Amanda settled into a small but cozy house on the edge of town. It wasn't grand or luxurious, but it was warm, safe and quiet. The kind of place where you could hear your own heart beating at night, and lately Amanda's heart had been heavy. David and Hope adjusted quickly. They were happy anywhere as long as they had her. But they noticed the sadness in her eyes, the quiet sighs, the long moments when she stared into nothing. And they noticed something else too. Their father wasn't around. Nathan had tried to call, again and again. He left messages, sent texts, but Amanda didn't respond. She couldn't. Her heart was still shattered. One night after dinner, the children climbed onto her bed and snuggled against her. "Mummy?" Hope whispered. Amanda smiled. The words still made her tear up. "Yes, baby?" "Don't be mad at Daddy anymore," David said softly. "He loves you. We know he does." Amanda stroked their hair gently. complicated. But we're together now, Hope added. You are our mommy, right? Amanda nodded, her voice catching. Yes, I am. I always was. I just didn't remember. But even when I didn't know, I still loved you. I always have. The children hugged her tightly, and in that moment, Amanda knew she would protect them no matter what. Meanwhile, in the dark corner of Brenda's broken mansion, she and Cindy sat at a table lit by a single flickering lamp. Our name is ruined, Brenda snapped. Everything's gone. Cindy clenched her fists. Because of her. Amanda. She took everything. Nathan, the money. We need to end this once and for all, Brenda hissed. We'll ruin her, kidnap her, frame her, make Nathan believe she was never worth saving. Cindy nodded. Once he sees her as a cheap whore, he'll never forgive her. Then we step in. A week later, Amanda went to the local market with the kids. She was laughing as they picked out fruits, unaware that two men in black hoodies were watching her closely. As they rounded a quiet corner, the men moved in. But David, always alert, noticed something strange. He grabbed Hope's hand and whispered, "Run." Amanda turned and the men lunged. But before they could grab her, Nathan's car screeched into view. He jumped out, shouting, "Amanda!" The men hesitated. Nathan's guards poured out from another vehicle. A quick scuffle. The kidnappers were overpowered. Amanda clung to her children, shaking. Nathan ran to her side, gently touching her shoulder. "Are you okay?" Tears welled in Amanda's eyes as she nodded slowly. The police arrived minutes later. The men confessed they had been paid by Brenda and Cindy. Not long after, headlines screamed, "Brenda Mason and daughter arrested for kidnapping plot. Mason Group crumbles under scandal and betrayal. Wilson children saved by father in heroic intervention." Nathan and Amanda sat together, watching the news in silence. He turned to her. "I'm so sorry, Amanda, for everything." She looked at him, still healing, still tender, but finally at peace. "Let's just protect them," she said, looking at David and Hope, playing nearby. "That's all that matters now." Nathan nodded, and for the first time in years, the storm had passed. Back at the mansion, Amanda sat on the balcony, watching the sunrise. The air was calm. Hope and David were giggling somewhere inside, chasing each other through the hallway. Nathan stepped out, a cup of tea in his hand. He handed it to her and sat beside her, the quiet between them gentle and warm. Amanda turned to him, her heart full. "I've been thinking," she said softly, "about everything." Nathan looked at her, bracing himself. "I forgive you," she whispered. His eyes widened. "Amanda?" "Not just for hiding the truth," she interrupted, her voice trembling with emotion, "but for everything. For your anger, your pain. I understand you only tried to protect yourself." Nathan's throat tightened. "I forgive you," she repeated, "because I love you, Nathan. I've loved you without even knowing it. And I still do." Tears filled his eyes as he pulled her into a warm embrace. "I love you too, more than you can even imagine. And I'll spend the rest of my life making up for everything." Weeks later, the invitations were sent. The halls were decorated with silver and gold, flowers lined every corner. The grand wedding Amanda had never dreamed of was finally happening. Hope walked proudly down the aisle, tossing petals. David followed as the ring-bearer, holding a tiny box with a serious face. And Amanda, dressed in a glowing white gown, walked down the aisle with her head high, eyes full of joy, toward the man she had learned to love again and again. Nathan stood waiting, his heart overflowing. They said their vows under the soft afternoon sun, with the children holding their hands, sealing a love story reborn from pain and healed by truth. Elsewhere, Amanda's father arrived quietly. He stood at the edge of the wedding crowd, eyes red with shame. When she saw him, Amanda paused, her heart caught between memory and mercy. He walked forward slowly. "I'm sorry," he said simply, "for not believing you." For letting Brenda take everything from you. I was weak. I know I've lost everything. But I needed to say this. Amanda reached out and held his hand. I forgive you, Dad, she said. Not for the past, but for trying to be better now. Nathan, watching from a distance, gave a small nod. He lifted the boycott on the Mason name, but it made little difference. Her father was already ruined. Not because of the boycott, but because of years of bad deals. Driven by Brenda's greed, this had left him truly bankrupt. But Amanda had made peace. In the weeks that followed, laughter filled the halls of their mansion. Amanda tucked the children in every night with kisses and stories. Nathan held her close as they watched their kids grow, free of secrets, free of pain. She had her family, she had her peace. And after years of suffering and heartbreak, Amanda Mason finally came home to love. Forever.